welcome back to Rust Order Garage. We're back on the $5,000 budget build, 56 Chevy pickup. And I have not touched a truck, I think, for 3 weeks. Been a while, but I had other stuff to do, is what it is. But I got to do some boring stuff before I get into some fun stuff. But, you know, if you don't touch your project for a few weeks, even boring stuff is not so bad. Ooh, look, red calipers. Are they new? Of course not. Just the same old calipers that were on there. Just doing rear brakes. I got new rear hoses. Not going to put them on yet. And I just cut down the original mount for the hose. So I'm doing the other side. Got my new park and brake shoes and the new adjusting hardware. Which after getting everything, I realized the old stuff was fine after I cleaned up. Really nothing wrong with it, but only a few bucks. Not a big deal, although it did add up in the end. I think I have about $100 in parking brake parts. But got to be there, so finish it up. All right, this side's all done. Of course, I wasn't going to make you sit through me putting brake pads on a car. That's not what this channel's about. So tab is cut and mounted. Brake lines will run on the backs of the tubes because I always think if I'm going to throw an axle strap around this thing to tow it home, I don't want to crush my brake line. So I try to keep the brake lines out of the way. And the hoses I'll replace when we do the brake lines. But that is that. That is the fun stuff. So, well, not fun stuff. That's the boring stuff. Now, we'll get back to something else. All right, before we get into anything else, let's get caught up on the budget. And you guys are supposed to be keeping track of me. I messed up. I almost shorted the bill $2 last time. You gotta catch this stuff. I'm counting on you. Anyway, so here's where we are. Where we left off, and these are the real numbers. The truck value was at $4,527, and my out-of-pocket was $1,557. That's accurate. We'll fold this over. Here's the things I've added in now. I added in the U-joint for the drive shaft that you didn't catch me on last time. That was $20. Got us to $45.47 truck value. Out of pocket, $15.77. Rear shocks, which I have not installed yet, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to use. I ended up buying a set that I did use on I think it was on my 41 Cadillac some years back. They worked out real well. I think that length will work. We will get into that and explain why I haven't done them yet when the time comes. But they were $42 out of pocket and value, so the truck value went to $45.89, $16.19 out of pocket. Needed lug nuts for the mags and the rear axle. I have those around. I got piles of lug nuts. I valued them at $5, but they cost me nothing. So $45.94 value, $16.19 out of pocket. No change there. Then I spent $100 on e-brake parts, e-brake cables, the shoes, the adjusting hardware, all that stuff. And the e-brake cables I haven't put on yet, but I'll put it on the list. So that $100 got us to $46.94 truck value, $17.19 out of pocket. And then the last thing for the moment, rear brake hoses, which I bought all new brake hoses. I have not installed them yet. We'll do that when we do the brake lines, but I'll add the value in here now. So those were $30 for the three. And this is tax and shipping and everything. I'm counting everything. Truck value, $47.24. Out of pocket, $17.49. So call it $17.50 right now. Out of the $5,000 budget, we're doing okay. Let's do something else. Oh, you want to see the latest parts car I got? Check this beauty out. 1992 Caprice wagon. Of course, it's not running. And why are the doors open? Because this car's been sitting and the inside of it smells like a mouse house. Like bad. Like I was gonna get sick, like hentavirus just looking in it. It was really bad. Pretty clean car. Not running. Supposedly the engine is stuck. But the car, he said it was ran 6 months ago and stuck that quickly from sitting doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a small block Chevy. So maybe it's just a, man, it stinks from here. Maybe it's just a stuck AC compressor or something hanging it up. So maybe I'll do a will it start video on that and see if the engine is any good in it. It's got a rebuilt 700 R4. The only reason I bought this car is for the gas tank, because I wanted the gas tank. Who buys a whole car for a gas tank? Well, you know, that's me. So I'm going to let this sit here and air out a while, maybe a week or so before I even touch it. And yeah, and maybe we'll play with the engine. But let's get back to the 56. All right, so as much as I would like to start working on getting this thing started, it is September, which means it's starting to get a little colder at night, and the days are still nice, but I got to take advantage of what we got left of time, and I want to do a little painting. So as much as this is going to be pretty much a patina rod, rat rod, whatever you want to call, I am going to paint the dash, but I'm going to keep the patina. What I'm going to do is metal flake it just right over what's there. And same thing with these removable door panels. I'm going to take these off and shoot flake on those, put them back on. And I'm not going to do anything else with the rest of the inside of the truck. I am going to do the floor with bed liner and get that done. And I got some extra holes to weld up now that are not going to be needed. And yeah, and I got to patch that piece up there. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is vacuum this thing out and weld up the holes. And I still have to mark holes for where the seats are going to go, but I can do that afterwards, after the dash is painted and before I do the bed liner on the floor. So let me get this vacuumed out, get some holes welded up, and then we'll come back. I'm not going to bore you while I'm welding. Well, got up on a tangent. All right, all the holes are filled or welded up except for the one big one. I'm going to keep that as a feed through for some wiring, but I wasted a bunch of time yesterday messing with this. Yeah, that'll go like that. I found this in the back of one of my Silverados that I'm cutting up for parts to scrap out. Bought it for the 5.3, and I thought, oh, that'd be cool, put that in the back. So wasted a bunch of time hacking that down, and then there's a wing nut that'll go there and hold that down, and I'm going to put the jack under there, just like in the Silverado. And yeah, do I need that? No. But sometimes I just get off on a tangent. So I'm going to use Silverado seats. There's one of them there. Again, out of a same parts truck that I got that out of. And I'm going to use through bolts down into the structure for the front. This is the brace where the original seat mount was bolted down, so that's plenty strong. So I'll go into that, and then back here, I'm going to make these little extensions off of that and weld that in and put nuts, welded nuts under that. And that'll pick up the rear of the seat. And I'm going to spend way too much time measuring to make sure the seats are sort of right. And yeah, not a whole lot going on in this video. I apologize, but got to do it before anything fun happens. So I'm going to get some more of those made up and welded in, and we'll come back then. All right, driver's seat is mounted. Man, I'm tired. You're in all those days you just don't have the energy. Man, this is it. Anyway, the seat is in. You can't tell. I'm too close. Let's see. Any better? Probably not. Regardless, driver's seat is in there. You can't see that. Maybe when I get the truck out, it'll be easier to see. But it's in. It's power. So that's cool. figure if my wife does ever drive it, the seat will be a little bit adjustable for her. Get it, raise it up for her, or whatever she needs, but she'll probably never drive it. So yeah, we'll wire that in permanently, obviously, later. Right now, the next thing is to do it again. Make the brackets, drill the holes, and get the passenger side in and get it lined up with this one. And yeah, they're not too bad of seats. Most people on these trucks I see use like OBS Silverado seats. You know, like, what is that, 88 to 90, what, 88 to 98, around there. Those trucks, bench seats, they fit really well in these trucks. I couldn't find any. So, had these in stock, that's what's going in. One more seat to do. We'll get it done. And, yeah, well, maybe some fun stuff, I hope. From the back, and these headrests are removable. But they're not terrible, you know, they stick up, but what's the difference? If I take the headrest out, you're just going to see somebody's head. So I'm not that kind of guy. I really don't worry about that headrest showing in the window. Some people just lose their mind when they see that, but it's okay. They're comfortable seats, and who knows, maybe someday we'll get to take this on a long road trip, like a power tour or something silly, which is nowhere near me. They're all way far away, but I think it'd be cool to do it. All right, let me get the passenger seat in and continue on. All right, it is a new day. I didn't get a whole lot done yesterday. Just wasn't feeling it. But today, I'm going to finish up the seats, and I'm going to change the way I mounted the front of the seats. I was using bolts that went all the way through the floor, and you got to put a nut underneath. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I'd rather have a welded-in nut in the floor so you can just install them and not try to reach underneath with a ratchet or whatever to tighten them up. So come up with another idea. I'll show you what I got. And of course the stinky wagon is still airing out. All right, so I have my holes drilled for where the front of the seat would bolt in. And like I said, I was using through bolts that went through the floor, and you got to reach underneath and get a ratchet under there or a gun or whatever. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a slot in this cross brace here and weld up the whole way in the bottom there that I already drilled. And then I have this piece of steel here that I welded a nut on the bottom horribly. And I'm going to slide that into here so it'll be underneath this, and then I'll weld it into this brace, and that way I'll just have a nut there just like factory, at least for the outside where it's more of a pain. The inside's kind of easy to get to, so I don't know if I'll bother for the inside ones, but for the outside, yeah, we'll put that in. All right, that actually worked. Welded up the slot I had cut in there, and it's in there. Now I take a bolt, spit it right in there, and that'll be it. Much easier than reaching underneath with a ratchet to tighten up that one. So cool. I think I'll do that on the other side. On the outside, I'll change it to that so they match. And yeah, so now I just gotta bolt the seat in. I'll set the rear extension braces on there, same as I put on those that are not fully welded in yet. And mark the holes. Same thing, weld nuts on the bottom of those braces and bolt it in. Just making my extensions for the rear seat bolts. I can't even speak today. But just wanted to show this. I'm making this out of really heavy steel because it's scrap I have laying around, and I have nothing that would bend anything like that. But if you score it pretty much all the way through with the cutoff wheel and then put it in a vise and bend it, you can bend it. And then you just come back and weld in the corner, and it'll be good as new, plenty strong. So we'll get these set in the truck, and then I'm going to bolt the seat in on the front, see where the rear mounts hit here, mark and drill the holes. All right, got my extensions here welded, no holes drilled in them. I'm just going to set them in here like this, and then I'm going to put the seat in, bolt the front of it down, and then I can see where the rear mounts hit this, mark them, drill the holes, and then weld nuts on the back of them. And then once they're securely mounted to the seat, I can tack them into the truck, get the seat out, and weld it up. Still haven't welded the other one up completely, but we'll get to it as soon as this one's done, because I want to make sure they're pretty much exactly the same. Pretty much as close as I can get them. As far as height and separation between them to the door, and you get it. I'm trying to make it look not so bad out of, next to nothing as far as money spent. All this stuff scraps. In fact, even these bolts are left over from Silverados. It's how we roll. All right, let me get the seat in here and mark those mounts. All right, we've got seats. Not the best view because I'm doing this through the window on the door, but when I get the truck outside, maybe I get a better view. But take my word for it, they fit really nice. They're a perfect height for the truck. You sit in them, it's nice and comfortable. And yeah, I think that's just as good as option as any for these trucks. Just have to make those little plates for the back to raise the back up a little bit, and they're good to go. So I'll call that a success. All right, let's add the seats onto the list. Seats, I'll say they're worth $100. Normally a nice set like that, it would sell quick for $100. Me, they cost nothing. None of these Silverados cost me a dime. Whenever I buy them cheap enough. The parts that I sell off them, they always break even. There's no problem there. They may not make money, but they'll always break even. So those seats are $0. Brings the truck value to $48.24 out of my pocket still. $17.49. All the steel I used is just scraps I had laying around. You can find scrap metal anywhere. Really, it shouldn't cost you anything. And the bolts are all Silverado bolts, just leftovers. Same with the nuts that I welded underneath. It's all right from those trucks. And I don't think that's anything else. Isn't that pitiful? I think that's all I did on this video was install the seats. Well, we did the brakes, but that's no big deal. All right, I guess that'll be it for this one. I apologize if that was boring, but that's just kind of work that needs to be done. And really, when I started this video, I didn't know that was what I was going to be doing. I thought I'd be starting to work on the floor, more finish work on the floor and stuff. And then I'm like, well, wait, I have to do the seat install first, because there's no sense in doing the whole floor with the bed liner and stuff and then have to grind it away and weld brackets in, right? Makes no sense. So hope that was not too terrible. Hey, if one or two people who are interested and it helped them with something, hey, then it's a win. It is what it is. But the seats worked out great. Silverado seats, not always first choice for these trucks, but hey, I like it. So that'll be it. When we come back, we will do, I don't know. I'm not going to commit because everything seems to change. In between doing this, I've got to do other things. Like, see out there? You get a Tahoe and a Silverado. Yeah, well, those are donor trucks for LS engines. So I got to get those gone. I'm doing my fall cleanup as well as when I do spring cleanup, even though it doesn't look like around here I do any cleanup. I actually do. It's just a lot. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hope that wasn't too bad of a video, but we'll post it anyway. We'll see you on the next one. Maybe it'll be more entertaining. I don't know. See you then.